I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must find a way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. The weight of the world crushes me down. Fear and uncertainty all around. But I deep find inner strength to face the trials length by length. A way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes, like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my heart reborn. I've walked through fire and emerged scarred, but wiser, stronger, and unmarred. My existence is a test of will, of trials overcome, of a soul made bold. The way of the world, above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Oh, made bold. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my spirit unborn. Day to day, nothing changes. All I want is a moment to think clearly, but thoughts come unrelenting, consuming every waking moment. My mind binds me and I can't escape. I shout for help when no one hears me. One day I feel I'll just disappear. Lost in this chaos, I'm searching for peace.
Hey, greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to the NXT Dirt Sheet Radio Post Show Rewind. It is November the 18th, 2025. I am Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster, here as always with little Molly Holly, the long-haired Chihuahua. Guys, we have a lot to cover tonight. It was night one of NXT Gold Rush, and a lot happened tonight, guys. A lot went down. It is just going to be me and little Molly here flying solo tonight, or I guess flying duo. You know, I guess it's not really solo if I've got Molly here with me. But we're going to be bringing all of the fun and discussion of the goings on here tonight, and Molly's going to go over there and lay down and just be fluffy about it. But guys, before we can get to all of the fun and excitement that happened tonight, I have to give the quick shout out to the us on the web. That is dirtsheetradio.com for all of your pop culture, professional wrestling needs, entertainment needs. Molly, come back. We're doing the plugs. For all your professional wrestling needs, check it out. Make your homepage, just like we do. Not because we're legally obligated to do so, but because we love to. Guys, like I said, we had a lot. Sorry, I'm interrupting your nap, Molly. We have a lot to cover tonight. We had 4 matches announced going into this evening's program, which it makes sense. It's weekly television, but it's a special weekly television as it was night 1 of Gold Rush. And my apologies to Joe Hendry for the Dirt Sheet Radio live logo being over your face there. But as I said, we had 4 matches on the card tonight, 4 title matches on the card tonight. A lot on the line for the NXT Tag Team Championships. We had the Dark Leon Slater and Javon Evans. Blake Monroe would be defending her North American Championship against Sol Ruca. The AAA World Mixed Tag Team Champions, All Ego Ethan Page and Chelsea Green, would be defending against Thea Hale and Joe Hendry. And tonight's main event, Tatum Paxley defending her NXT Women's Championship against Jacy Jayne in a rematch from Halloween Havoc last month. So like I said, a lot, and let's get into it. Molly, you ready? All right, let's do this. All right, so this evening's program came to us live from New York City, guys. NXT was in the theater in Madison Square Garden. A big crowd, hype crowd, really cool venue. I love the Hendry and Thea Hale getting a shot at the AAA World Mixed Tag Team Championship. The crowd was excited to again similar pop and reaction here. Maybe if just a hair louder for Chelsea Green and All Ego Ethan Page, which is always kind of the case when Chelsea has appeared at NXT. It's hard for her to really get booed when she's hanging out in the developmental brand. But she and Ethan were slated to defend those championships here tonight. And the opening match was underway, and it was a good pace from Go here. I dug the match. Not a lot of heavy drama here. To be what you'd expect to be, you had your Joe Hendry spots. The he and Thea got the spin around smile bit. Uh, Again, though, just Chelsea Green, especially Ethan to an extent because of her, but Chelsea just gets such a pop and face reaction here. There was a nice dueling chant between Thea Hale and Chelsea Green, although I will say the Chelsea Green portion of the chant was a wee bit louder. But yeah, everyone put in the work here tonight. Like I said, I like Thea Hale. Thea hitting a coffin drop on the outside of the ring there. But guys, I think predictably and understandably, Thea Hale and Joe Hendry were not to win these championships tonight. No. All Ego Ethan Page and Chelsea Green retaining the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championship. And like I said, in what was a solid match, 10 minutes, 40 seconds here. I guess my only hope here that maybe the faces we're going to go over was the fact that Hendry was just signed to WWE, but hey, Joe Hendry wasn't really booked to win a whole lot of matches in WWE when he wasn't signed there either. So just kind of going forward with that. Now I'm sure he'll get his shine going forward here. Obviously, this wasn't a match that he could win. I don't think that. Well, I guess it really wouldn't matter. They own AAA, but I don't know. It ain't a great look to have just WWE talent exchanging another company's belts. Defending them is one thing, but exchanging them around like that. Anyway, but I dug it, guys. Solid match, good opener. As it set the pace, the crowd was into it. They were, again, a little more into the heels than they probably should be, but hey, that's the nature of Chelsea Green. All right, backstage. Lola Vice and Jordan Grace were watching the goings on in the ring, and kind of both discussing their frustrations with what's been going on for both of them as of late. As they were back there airing the frustrations, it isn't really Festivus season, so airing of the grievances is an understandable thing this time of year. But as they were doing so, Kalani Jordan showed up, and she brought up the fact that she has beaten both of them. And Jordan Grace said Jordan was just mad because she's only got 1 week left with that championship. So, just talking some smack, continuing the anger and feud between these women. From there, also in the backstage area, we saw Tatum Paxley getting ready with her crew backstage ahead of tonight's main event match, which I liked that was slated as the main event, and it made me more and more worried as the night went on. And you know why, and you probably understand why, and we'll get there when we get there. But from there, on to a kind of an exciting bit of news here. Ava announced pertaining Deadline this year, taking place next month, I believe December 6th, Saturday, December 6th, when Deadline will take place. And we will once again have the Iron Survivor Challenge. And in years past, the participants for the Iron Survivor Challenge have been chosen by a myriad of WWE legends and Hall of Famers, each individual Hall of Famer or legend selecting an individual wrestler to be in the Iron Survivor Challenge. However, this year, we're going to do things a little bit differently. Ava announced that with it being his retirement year and at his request, John Cena, the current Intercontinental Champion, will be selecting all of the participants for both the men's and women's Iron Survivor Challenge. Guys, this is cool. The entire field going to be selected by John Cena, and that is going to take place next week on week 2 of NXT Gold Rush. So also, we're winding down here at the very end of the John Cena retirement tour, and I'm glad that they're getting him on NXT one more time. And as it was announced last week, the Saturday night's main event that will have his last match is going to be an NXT main roster exhibition night. So I do wonder if this really was at the behest of John Cena, or if he was catching a lot of flack and maybe heard it about him not really doing a whole lot to, put over younger people on his way out. But nonetheless, NXT getting a little one last sip of John Cena next week. That was a weird way to put that. I apologize, but John Cena will be on the show next week, picking the wrestlers to be in that. So it's nice, and and that was a weird way to say it though. But I'm going to say it again. One last sip of Cena. Oh, a sip of Cena next week, and then again though, I guess on Saturday night's main event, but. It's nice to see him doing a little bit more with NXT on the way out the door. So from there, Sarah Schreiber was interviewing Tavion Heights. It was kind of in the crowd, kind of the way they've done the interviews on Raw. And Tavion was saying that he's got no regrets about being in the NQCC. He learned more from the NQCC than he did from being in the Olympics, which is quite a statement to make. He was kind of pretty solid promo, but he seemed to lose his footing about in the halfway point here. Kind of rambled for a little bit, got lost for a moment, and he mentioned that John Cena would be picking the competitors for the Iron Survivor Challenge next week, and he hopes to be among them. And just as that was happening, Josh Briggs flew into the scene and attacked the poor unsuspecting Tavion Heights. Yeah, this would be a little bit of a reoccurring theme throughout the night as the two would brawl around there as they are at the merch stand. And I don't know if that's a real merch stand or not. They usually aren't when they do that because there's never anybody around, when they do the Raw. But so after that, we cut to the locker room where Sol, Ruca, and Zaria were actually wasn't actually in the locker room. I think it was more in a hallway area. Nonetheless, Sol, Ruca, and Zaria were talking about Sol's upcoming match, and Zaria was just triple checking that Sol was comfortable going forward with this match, even with this massive knee brace that she has on. And she said that she was, and we had Blake Monroe make her entrance. All right, and then coming back from the break, we had Ruca make her way down to the ring with her good buddy Zaria. So Sol could get that shot at a championship that she never lost in the first place. So, and we were underway here. I like this match. Blake is starting to really, really get her footing here in the WWE environment, and Ruca is pretty much main roster ready. There's not a whole lot left for her to even really do at NXT. Maybe, short of winning the women's championship, and one other thing that I think she actually does need to do before she is main roster bound, but we'll get there here in a moment. The match was fantastic. Of the four, this was ranked very high for me tonight. It's a Ruca match, of course it did. But a large portion of the story of the match here was Ruca's knee. That knee brace being on there, just a lot of weight on there, and they beat it to death on commentary about her leg being hurt, and a lot of pressure was put on it. Blake Monroe focused a lot of attention and attack on that knee brace, and towards the end of the match, went so far as to pull the knee brace off, and then locking Sol in this leg lock here. Blake just wrenching it, just causing what would be assumed to be an excruciating amount of pain here. And this was just a lot for Zaria to take in. She went rummaging around by the timekeeper's area, pulled out a towel. Oh my goodness. And you just knew where we were going, guys. This is, Owen Hart, Bret Hart, Bret Hart wrestling Bob Backlund. Owen couldn't take it. Guys, Zaria throws in the towel. Ruca never lost the championship to begin with. Ruca did not tap out tonight. Sure. Maybe permanent damage would have been done to her knee. Maybe every ligament in there would have been snapped, crackled, and popped. And that's her right as a wrestler. But Zaria throwing in the towel with some gusto. The referee looks like just frightened as hell by it, by the way. Like someone threw a Molotov cocktail in the ring or something. But yeah, this brings an end to the match. Even stated, it ended because Zaria threw in the towel. Blake Monroe retaining the North American Championship. I liked this. I liked the match. It was a really great match, and I don't hate the finish. Throwing in the towel, it can, it's a little teeny bit screwy, I guess. But a lot of folks have assumed that when this team splits, it was going to be Zaria snapping and going heel and being mean and brash. But I think what we've got on our hands here is something a lot more interesting and a lot more compelling. Ruca has every right to be pissed off and livid and go after Zaria with a righteous fury. Now, you slant that in a way that makes her the bad guy here. This is going to give her such a great opportunity to be a heel. I think that's where we're going, y'all. I think we are heading to Ruca heel turn, and I'm here for it. I'm really, really interested to see what Ruca can do as a heel, and I 100% think that that's the direction we're going with this. I mean, hey, maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, y'all can let me know. But that's where I'm seeing this heading, and I am not too mad about it. I think it's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited to see what she can do as a heel. But 13 minutes, 19 seconds when it was all said and done. But yeah, solid. But all right, so back to the backstage area, we had Fatal Influence hyping each other up ahead of tonight's main event, and then we had Ricky Saints walking through the backstage area ahead of the break. Coming back from the break, Ricky Saints made his way to the ring, soaked up the adulation from the fans as he walked up the steps. He grabbed a mic and Obafemi's music hits, immediately. Ricky didn't even have a moment to get a word out, and out comes the ruler, Obafemi. And Trick and Oba, Trick and Oba, goodness gracious. You can tell I get a little ahead of myself there. Ricky and Oba had a pretty good back and forth here. Oba kind of giving him the thanks for keeping my title warm treatment. Said that Ricky's still the same guy, that he's still a little man, that, of course, Oba went away for a while. He didn't want to be part of the whole TNA versus NXT thing. He didn't want to have a fashion show with Ricky Saints and Trick Williams. And yeah, and he said daddy's home. Oba Femi referred to himself as daddy tonight on NXT television. Yeah, but that aside, it didn't get a chance. So I'm glad that we didn't get like a daddy's home or an Oba's daddy chant or something. But in this, Ricky made official what I thought was already something that was official. But next week we will have Obafemi and Ricky Saints for the NXT Championship. It'll be a solid match. I don't expect Obafemi to win that. I think that Oba is main roster bound at this point. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. So, as they were talking, Trick Williams is music hits. You probably knew that if you didn't see the show, as I mentioned Trick a moment ago by mistake. But Trick comes out and he mentions that, he's not done. And before he can really get too much out, he is just, whacked from behind by Miles Bourne with a chair. Which I like this, guys. Look, they're biding their time with Trick right now on NXT. He's done everything he needs to do. He's done everything he can do. You just got to wait till that opportunity, till that spot opens up on the main roster. You don't want to bring him up prematurely. You don't want to have him get lost in the weeds. That happens a lot and has happened a lot with wrestlers coming up from NXT. So, they got to find a couple things for him to do here, probably until the end of the year, I imagine. And so, they're going to probably get a couple little more TV feuds in here, a couple more matches at least. But after Bourne laid him out, he also made it clear that he intends to be in the Iron Survivor Challenge. And again, intends to be. It's not really his decision, but I'm sure John Cena will, do the right thing and put Miles Bourne in there. Right? Right? We're all pulling for Miles and that. Yeah. But all in all, this was I think a really strong segment. Good movement for a couple different angles and stories. So, NXT always making the most of their time. So going backstage into Ava's office, or I guess her impromptu office, as they're not at the Performance Center, she's yelling at Miles Bourne, saying that he knows better and this is not how they do things. And she's getting all worked up and angry, and her phone rings. And as she's answering the phone, she says, "You know what? Next week you've got it. You and Trick Williams, whatever." And she answers the phone, shouts, "They're doing what?" And that's when the camera cuts over to Tavion Heights and Josh Briggs still brawling. They are fighting back and forth, and Briggs ends up putting Heights through a table there. Yeah, so it ain't over between them. So definitely going to get a little more juice out of this feud too, which I'm enjoying. Josh Briggs is hated by the NXT universe. He just gets such a strong heel reaction, and I say this a lot. I don't know if it's a legitimate heel reaction or if it's more of like a go away heat kind of thing. But nonetheless, it's good to be across the ring from him if you're trying to get over as a babyface. So this is, I think, a good position for Tavion to be in. I don't see Josh Briggs winning this feud, but I don't see Josh Briggs winning very many feuds. No one has. So, but yeah. So from there, guys, it was tag team title match time. The the titles were going to be on the line here tonight between Javon Evans teaming up here with Leon Slater against the champions, the DarkState. Leon making his way out to the ring first. The TNA X Division champion, youngest TNA X Division champion, and he was soon followed by the young OG, Javon Evans. They didn't wear matching gear tonight. I was a little bummed they didn't wear matching gear. I like when they wear matching gear. But after they made their way to the ring, the DarkState came out. I chose the most ill-lit picture I could because it's the DarkState. It's not the well-lit state, y'all. It's the DarkState. From there, we had brief introductions, and the match was underway. Quick action from the get-go, as you would expect to be in a match involving John Evans and Leon Slater. Sorry, and real quick, the members of DarkState defending tonight, of course, being Osiris Griffin and Dion Lennox. Dion Lennox, one of CJ and I's favorite competitors from the NXT Level Up Adventure days. Slater got a really quick, early near fall on a roll up. With schmoz happening right after, folks getting back separated, brawling around the ring, lots of high flying action. One of my favorite pictures of the night. Just high octane, high flying, lots of fun. And I thought maybe DarkState was just going to be the hot potato team, for the tag titles here, and maybe we would finally see a TNA talent grasp some NXT gold. No, unfortunately, as things were going pretty swimmingly for Leon and Javon, there was just a Booker called it a miscommunication. I don't think it's one of the miscommunications. It was a miscalculation, a mistiming, perhaps. Javon was going for a splash, ended up hitting his partner instead as DarkState rolled out of the way. And this led to, I'm not really sure what they call it, but Leon took that doomsday device looking thing, the DarkState device, maybe we'll call it. And Leon Slater eating the pin here tonight. DarkState getting the win, retaining the tag titles in 11 minutes and 8 seconds. Okay, I get that, they're letting Javon touch the main roster here. Back-to-back matches in New York City, being part of the Last Time Is Now tournament, taking on Gunther last night. So I understand that he's being positioned a certain way and at kind of a certain level. But man, I don't really like that Leon took the pin here. He's a champion in TNA. He's the X Division champion. I mean, maybe it'll make sense when it's all said and done. I'm hoping this isn't all for them as a tag team here. I like this, so hopefully they can, get back to DarkState again. But I don't know. I was hoping for different here. No, but like I said, solid match overall. But I don't know. Would have been nice to go with a different finish. So I want to point out that it was at this point that I got nervous, as we had 4 title matches on the card tonight. And I just thought that for sure something would change hands. And we still have the main event to go. And I was really, really, really concerned for Tatum Paxley's chances going into that. But before we can get to that, got a quick couple segments to head on. Backstage, we had the Evolve Women's Champion Kendall Gray hanging out with her friend Ren Sinclair of the Ren QCC. She's trying to get it together here. Her and Kendall, they're trying to get a group of like-minded women together here for some NQCC style graps, I guess. But they were having a quick conversation back here. And Ren said that she was concerned that she was, being ghosted by Charlie Dempsey because, Kendall brought up the whole schmoz last week in TNA. And, Ren was saying that she didn't even know that Charlie was back. And now he's not returning her calls. It's not sounding good for, what was left of the NQCC. Maybe it is now just the Ren QCC. but she said not to worry about it and just see what happens. But guys, there was a spotlight segment that was sponsored by a national insurance company who pays NXT to mention their name, but they do not pay myself nor Dirt Sheet Radio. So I'll just say a sponsored spotlight segment. But man, it was a sponsored spotlight segment that I really dug. Shiloh Hill sitting in front of a computer, some code flying by, very Matrix-esque, and he cuts what I think was a very cool promo. It was very cheerful, very lighthearted in tone, but violent and dark in the words. And I think that's a really, really great balance that Shiloh is able to strike. It's been a really strong aspect of his character from the get go. That flip of the switch between kind of like happy, almost dopey country boy, and just this violent, I don't know, near psychotic level, just violent backwoods man. Uh, and one of my favorite things about this segment is, as soon as I saw the computers in front of him, I was hopeful that they were going to bring it up. And he did. As he was talking about, being an athlete and a nerd, going to Stanford and, taking all these classes, online and, finished them quickly. He brought up the dark web, talked about learning about the dark web and conspiracy theories, and I really, really hope that they're going to make this a part of his gimmick going forward. If you know, you know, but if you don't, I'm going to tell you right now. Shiloh Hill, his online persona, as he's been in LFG, NXT Level Up, and so forth, he's done these really fun videos online about the dark web, about him exploring the dark web, making a robot that talks through the dark web, ordering these creepy blood-stained boots on the dark web that he cut the heel open and it had a microchip in it. Really cool stuff. Really scary stuff, actually. I don't know if it's real or if it's just him, having fun, but regardless, it's good content, and I love that they're bringing this into his character at least a little bit. But yeah, love the promo. I think that it told the audience a lot about Shiloh. For those that don't know a lot about Shiloh, dug it, dug it. Also, he's the winner. He's the winner of season 2 of LFG. So we'll see if he can maybe get a better foothold as an LFG winner than Jasper Troy has. Yeah, but so all right, going forward, we had Vic Joseph promote next week's lineup. Heck of a card there for week 2 of Gold Rush, and I just realized that does not have Ricky Saints and Oba Femi on it. Oops a doodle. Oops a doodle. It happens. But yeah, heck of a card next week. I will say on paper, tonight's card was a little bit stronger, I think, just a hair. But man, I'm looking forward to a lot of those matches, though. Kendall Gray and Laney Reed, which is kind of an Evolve NXT Level Up rematch in itself. Trick Williams and Miles Bourne. Again, I don't know how many more matches Trick's going to have in NXT. Probably maybe just a handful, 2 or 3. I'd wager. So I'm guessing that Miles is going to go over here. That's going to be a big win for him if that's the way that goes. We have a triple threat for the TNA Knockouts Championship and the Women's Speed Championship also on the line. And guys, John Cena is going to be in the house, naming all the competitors for the Iron Survivor Iron Survivor Challenge, and oh my gosh, also the Evolve Men's Championship also on the line. Sean Legacy getting his rematch there. But yeah, lots going on next week. And guys, we got one more match to get to here this evening. And before we were backstage with Sol Ruca and Zaria, where Zaria was really laying it on thick with her logic and explanations to why she did what she did. And Sol wasn't really having it, y'all. Zaria said that, they just need to forget about it tonight. just move on and focus on next week when Zaria will be bringing the Speed Championship back to them. Again, Zaria brought up that she didn't want Sol Ruca's knee to get torn in half. You can't wrestle if you're injured out completely. But yeah, again, before Sol walked off, she kind of took that towel and put it on the chest of Zaria and walked off. So, what do you want to bet that next week Sol Ruca cost Zaria that match? I mean, sure, it's obvious booking, but whatever. Sometimes the obvious route's the good way to go. And I already think that they've, circumvented expectations enough by turning Sol heel. Because I really think that's what we're going to get. And I really think it's going to be awesome. But again, let me know what y'all think. But all right, guys. It's main event time. I'm somber. We're going to talk about it. All right, we're going to make it through. We're going to do this. Me, you, Molly, who's napping right now. We're going to make it through this together. It was time. Tatum Paxley, with the Culling, making her way to the ring to defend her NXT Women's Championship against former champion Jacy Jayne. And guys, this man, they started with like 14 minutes or so, maybe 13 minutes left in the hour. So I knew that they weren't going to get the amount of time, or maybe put on the caliber of match that they had at Halloween Havoc. However, they did a lot with the time that they did have here. They got a lot in, a lot of great action, and one of the reoccurring beats here was that Tatum Paxley would not cheat. She had ample opportunity. Izzy Dame trying to get her to use the chair in the match. Later attempting to get her to use the NXT Women's Championship, and she wouldn't. She refused. She wanted to. She's stout. She's good. She's good-hearted. Is Tatum Paxley. It's why we as the fans admire and love her and pull for her the way that we do. Yeah, lots of believable near falls here. There was a close one. Jacy hitting that rolling elbow on Tatum. There was a second there where I thought maybe that was going to be it, but no, Tatum kicks out there. And there was a point here where Tatum made her way to the outside of the ring. I think it was I think she was going to tangle with Laney Reed. Sorry, it's kind of meshing together there a little bit. But she gets her way to the outside of the ring. And before she can dive back into the ring to continue the match and potentially put Jacy Jayne away and retain her championship, she's blocked from getting back in the ring by Nico Vance and Shawn Spears. And then as she looks confused and turns, she's laid out by Izzy Dame with the biggest of big boots. Of course, all behind the referee's back. I guess Nico and Shawn also kind of blocked that. This wasn't just a big boot. It was a massive boot. An enormous boot. Das Boot. Tatum's laid out. Tatum's down. Tatum gets thrown back in the ring. And that look of just absolute hatred. Tatum Paxley loses tonight. Jacy Jayne recapturing the NXT Women's Championship in 11 minutes and 27 seconds. Hard pill to swallow that this was Tatum Paxley's reign. It really took the air out of the crowd. It got boos, which is good though. It's good that Jacy got booed here, but it really did deflate the audience tonight. That was not a send them home happy kind of ending here. And man, it was a good night to be a heel, because you won if you were a heel this evening. This was a sad ending, guys. It sucks that her reign was as short as it was, especially with how excited I think everyone was that she won the championship. And she just can't keep any friends. That might be the worst part of it was that she just can't keep friends, But yeah, the crowd was sad. I was sad. I think everyone's kind of sad, except for Jacy Jayne. Jacy Jayne's not sad. Fatal Influence isn't sad. I do want to say, and this is just a fun little tidbit here. Uh, Jacy Jayne being a two-time NXT Women's Champion now puts her in the same breath as Shayna Baszler, Roxanne Perez, and Charlotte Flair. Those are now the only four women to have captured that championship on two separate occasions. So, historic win for Jacy as well. But man, just what a quick run for not even a month. Not even a month. Just what a quick title run for Tatum. Poor Tatum. Poor Tatum. Sad, guys. It's sad. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens next week. They've got a lot to fit in next week, so I do hope that we have a little bit of time for some backstage or some story movement on what's going on here. I don't know what they do with Tatum Paxley next, honestly. I don't know. You've had her get despondent from losing her friends before. Just, it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs. But what are you going to do? Yes, what are you going to do? All right. So I think from there, maybe we should, move on to, well, I'd say a happier segment, but really, it's not. Because it's time for the NXT Jobber of the Night. So I didn't really feel like I had a lot of great options for Jobber of the Night tonight. Everyone did a really great job. Everyone carried their weight. They played the roles really well. So I'm going to go a little kayfabe, as I often do with my Jobber of the Night. And my Jobber of the Night tonight for night one of Gold Rush is Sol Ruca. As much as I admire Sol's tenacity going into this match, I think she let her pride get the better over here a little bit. She was upset going into it, upset that she lost the championship to begin with without even losing it because of her friend Zaria. And she lost again here tonight, again, without actually losing. And that's rough. That's rough for Sol. So I feel for Sol. I'm sorry for Sol, but Sol is the Jobber of the Night tonight for me. But I think she's going to, make a big flashback when she turns heel and just goes absolute. I just feel like an animalistic level of violence out of Sol Ruca. That they need to get something a little more, I don't know, just dark out of her. She's been fun and happy and bubbly, and again, clearly athletic, clearly kicks ass, but time to give her another facet. When she just, beats the brakes off of Zaria next week, what we're going to see. But all right, hey, from the depths of despair of the Jobber of the Night, it is time for the NXT Megastar of the Night. All right, guys. So I had ample options for tonight's Megastar of the Night. There was a lot of directions I could have gone on. Blake Monroe with a big win, albeit weird one with a thrown towel over Sol Ruca. The DarkState continuing to hang on to those championships. Ethan and Chelsea retaining their belts and getting almost a hero's welcome in New York City. But no, guys, my megastar of the night tonight is none other than Jacy two-time. Jacy, putting herself in the upper echelon of NXT women's wrestlers with this win, being one of 4 women to be a 2-time NXT women's champion. This is a big deal and a big win. Like I said, I would have preferred that Tatum Paxley retain here tonight and go on, but I can't deny how big this is for Jacy Jayne, and just how this makes her look. This is a big deal for her. So my hat is tipped to Jacy Jayne of Fatal Influence, the 2-time NXT Women's Champion. Thought it was a good match. Maybe not quite the finish that I would have done. Like I said, I would have preferred Tatum, but what are you gonna do, guys? What are you gonna do? But guys, if you had fun tonight, if you had a good time with Molly and I talking NXT and breaking it down, and I hope you did have a good time, I've got some news for you. Dirt Sheet Radio isn't just here to talk NXT on a Tuesday night. No. Dirt Sheet Radio is on multiple times a week, covering a lot of professional wrestling. Y'all, obviously, we are here Tuesday nights for NXT, but on Wednesdays or Thursday mornings, you can check out the Dirt Sheet Radio flagship podcast, where they also cover AEW every week and break that down for you. It's 2 shows for the price of 1, which is free, as is all of our content here at Dirt Sheet Radio. Guys, on Thursday, please be sure to check out the TNA Impact Rewind every single week, kind of our sister program here at NXT. And guys, on the weekends, there's content as well. The 3NT crew breaking down the week of professional wrestling only the way they can every single Sunday, so be sure to check that out. And sometime CJ and I will be back with the weekend wrestling roundup. Molly, it's rude. We're doing the plugs. Don't yawn. We're doing the plugs. But guys, we appreciate you tuning in live here tonight. I appreciate it. Molly Holly appreciates it. And if you could, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell. I know it's annoying to hear, but it really does help us out a lot. That visibility helps. And hey, you'll know when we're going live too, so that always helps too. And after you do that, if you can follow Dirt Sheet Radio on all social media platforms, and if you could then, maybe, if you still have the time, follow myself, Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster, over on the Book of Face or Facebook, if you like. I'm also on Instagram and the Twitter, but Facebook is where we do most of what we do. But guys, I would appreciate that. Molly appreciates that. Dirt Sheet Radio appreciates that. Molly. Guys, clearly it is getting late here in parts unknown Ohio. Molly is ready for bed. So once again, though, on behalf of Dirt Sheet Radio, thank you all so much for tuning in live or on demand, if that's how you get down. I am Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster. This is Molly Holly, the long-haired Chihuahua. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week for night 2 of NXT Gold Rush. Y'all have an excellent night. We'll see you then, guys.